Hey, you've made it to the podcast Recovery Captured, hosted by me, Shannon Louise, a certified recovery coach and self-verified addict. Join me on my journey through my recovery from mind-altering substances, eating disorders, depression, and much, much more. During this podcast, you'll hear my personal experience, thoughts, and opinions, as well as my guests' stories through their own recovery. I hope that you're able to take something away from this podcast and use it as a tool to help you see that your story is picture perfect. All right, so welcome, Kyle, to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, let's start off with the goods. What are you in recovery for? How long have you been in recovery? And give us a fun fact.
I am in recovery for heroin, fentanyl, and crack. I've been clean since October 9th, 2020, so 17 months now. And fun fact, I love to help as many people as I can. That's where I am now, and that's what I love to do. It's a passion of mine. Unfortunately, it's not everything I can do all day, but I love it. So.
Awesome. Okay, so I know we'll get back to that fun fact later on. So let's get to what it was like, what happened, and now where we're at now.
Yep. I started using marijuana when I was younger. I mean, it was kind of the normal for everything. I grew up around construction workers, so I knew things people shouldn't know at the age of 12, 13 years old. I never really got into it till I was junior in high school. We went to the tech center, and I would pop some pills or snort some pills out in the automotive cars. So that was kind of the introduction of it with all my friends. And got out of school, moved to North Carolina to pursue racing, which wasn't really my thing. So I moved home and bought a house at the age of 17, 18 years old. And for the first 3 years, it was party central. I mean, we had 50, 60 people every single night, Monday through Sunday. It was a nonstop party house. And that lasted till about 21. Then I had a girlfriend, took care of her kid, and then that went south. And a buddy from mine from school, we used to bring Perk 30s up from Florida. And he'd bring about 3,000 to 3,500 a week, and that's how my kind of addiction started. I was using 30 a day, and then after everything ends. So it ended. Got clean for a little bit. I mean, I never really consistently used for years on end, but I was on and off for 14, 15 years. I'm 33 now, so. And then I met my son's mother, and we had a kid together. He's 6 years old now. He's the greatest thing in my life.
Aww.
And he helped me a lot in my recovery. I know that. He knew that I was sick. He knew everything about, all my chips. He knows about my chips. We made necklaces out of them. He knows that I was sick. He doesn't necessarily know what it is, but he definitely knows, I'm a lot better than I used to be. I mean, I was always there for a father, but now it's, I'm always there. So, so then about 4 years ago, we broke up after she bought a house. My ex broke up probably 2016, I think. And I went back to Eden, stayed there for a year, and met my current girlfriend. And we used pills together, occasionally weekends, Friday night or whatever. It was never really a weekly thing. And then I wanted to sell my house because Eden's a tough place to live. I mean, I shoveled my windows out 3 times the last winter I was there, and I just had it. I was sick of it. So I sold that. But before that, we were starting to use a little crack, a little heroin. We thought it was okay. And then sold my house. I had a bunch of money. And that's where it got pretty bad. So I moved to Hyde Park, probably spring of 2019, and then it started getting downhill, meeting people you shouldn't really want to meet.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough. I never used needles, but I saw it happen a lot, and I wouldn't. I mean, I used to smoke it, but it was nothing I really wanted to get into. But all my friends, so-called friends, were, addicts, and that's where our lives went for a year and a half straight. I always had a job, I always worked, and then right before COVID, like 2 weeks before the pandemic actually started, is when I lost my job and just went downhill from there. I mean, it was scavenge every dollar you can. We had vehicles, so we were always the drivers, We were always the people able to drive the people to the next deal or pick this person up. So we, plus we had money. I mean, I'd always do side jobs and have cash, and she had a full-time job. So it was tough, but we knew it was bad. But you're always in that situation where you're like, I don't know, it's too much, but then you get lost in it. You get lost in it over time. And I think it was that winter, it was pretty rough. I think it was January, I started working for a company in Morrisville, and he knew the situation that I was in, and I lied to him, told him that I was clean, and the work was kind of on and off. It was weird. It was, oh yeah, we got plenty of work to do, but let's go clean the yard up. And I just wasn't having it. I wouldn't show up because I was up all night smoking, and it was not fun. Then I lost that job, and that's when it finally hit me that I was bad. But you don't think you're that bad because you're alive,
Right.
You don't think it's that bad until you hit bottom. So the summer started coming on, and I planted a huge garden. I have a garden at my grandmother's house. It's way too big, way too big, but it's a lot of fun. That's my other hobby now, is gardening. But I planted everything. It was great, and I just left it. And my family started to realize that, I had a problem. I lost a lot of weight. We wouldn't come around as much, wouldn't come to family functions. And I think it was about July. Yeah, it was the beginning of July when my father reached out to Dawn, and she's the one that kind of reached out to me. And mid-July, I think, I talked to Dawn, my mother, and my father, and I wanted to get clean. We wanted to be done. I was sick of it. I knew it for months, but you just don't want to because you're happy where you are. It's your normal life for 2 years straight. You don't want to be done. It was great. I had a lot of fun, but now it makes me cringe. It just makes me cringe thinking about it. So we went to detox in Portland for 7 days, and I didn't want to do the rehabilitation program. I didn't have insurance, so it was out of pocket, $9,000 for 7 days just to go detox, and it didn't work. So we came home. We thought it was going to be good for a while, and 2-3 weeks later, a friend of mine was there, and I asked because we felt sick, and your first few days you're on a high because you feel better, but then it just drops right off. So we started using again. My girlfriend, she was supposed to go to Brandon, Vermont to her sister's, and she never went. And the next thing you know, we're sleeping at noon on a weekday, and her mother shows up, and they knew exactly what was going on. So, and that was probably mid-September. Towards the end of September, she ended up going back to detox, and I stayed here, and I was miserable, depressed. I had nothing, felt like I had nothing anymore. I knew I had family, but I still used. And then October 8th, my birthday, I did my last use. The next morning I woke up, went on Suboxone, and now it's Jenna's Promises all the way. Been clean since October 9th, 2020.
That's insane. Now,
Yeah.
was your son with you through this whole process still?
Yeah, we have. I have a normal, just a regular schedule. It's a little iffy, on and off, day here, day there. It's harder on a kid. I'd rather be a different schedule. But I was always there. We just go in the other room and use. But he never was around it. He was never, in the car with me when I went somewhere. It was never like that. So it was pretty. I was pretty lucky, if he was ever with me and I got pulled over or something, it was terrible. But yeah, I had my son with me the whole time.
Well, that's good. At least you didn't lose that
Yeah.
contact and that,
Yeah, I mean, I look at my story and I think it's bad. I was lucky, I never got in trouble with the cops. I never went to jail. I'm lucky, and that's how I look at it every single day, that I am very lucky that I didn't have it that bad. And that's why I'm pushing to where I am now.
Right. And you mentioned rock bottom. You don't want to stop until you hit rock bottom, but rock bottom looks different for all of us.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like you don't want to go any further than where you already hit.
No. And after my girlfriend left for Maine, and then she ended up going to Florida for 9 months for recovery, she drank coffee, and I had this guy living with me that shouldn't have been living with me for a couple days. I got clean, and the day before my birthday, I told him to get out. I said, I can't do this anymore. And then I don't know, I think it was like 6-7 days after I got clean, and I opened up the coffee maker because I would drink iced coffee. I was going to make a batch, and I found like a half ounce underneath the coffee filter. And that was tough, but I flushed it. I flushed it right down the toilet, and I said, never again. I know, like, that day of my birthday, I was miserable. I didn't see my family. I just wanted to be alone. I felt like, I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is my last round. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm sick of it. Just couldn't sleep. I was miserable. No money. It sucked.
And when you saw that batch, there wasn't like second guessing, like, oh, I could probably just sneak one more in. And
there was a lot of it, but Dawn helped me through it. Jenna's Promise. She's a rock, man. She's the strongest human being I've ever met. She helped me. I called her right up and went right through it and threw it out. Cried myself to do it, but I did it. So, and I never touched. I found a couple things here and there in the last 6 months and never even touched.
Now, may I ask, is your significant other still sober?
Yep.
That's awesome.
We got together, we used together, and we got clean together. So it's a good feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was tough. When she left, I was miserable. I felt like she left me because I wanted to do it together. And then we got back and we failed together, and it was actually the good thing. It was actually a good thing that she left and did it herself, because I don't think we'd be together now. So it's hard. When she came back, I was living in Johnson, and no, I didn't have the nicest place, but I had a place. It was cheap. It was great for me and my son. He had a whole bedroom plus 2 toy rooms. It was a huge place. No, it wasn't great, but it was a place for me. So. And after that, he wanted to sell, so I just moved out, went to my grandmother's house, and I'm there now. She's 82. She's got some shoulder problems, but I love helping out. She loves the garden. She's always wanted a garden, but her husband never let her have one. He's like, yeah, you can have one down in the woods, and now she loves it. We grow 42 different varieties of vegetables, some fruit. Yeah, we did probably $3,000 last year. We donated, we had to buy some supplies for the garden. We donated $700 to Jenna's Promise and $700 to the Lamoille Cancer Society. So, yeah.
You're just doing good all around.
I'm pushing pretty hard. It's huge. I mean, I've helped. I've been talking to my buddy. He's been sober 3 years. 3 years from drugs and alcohol. He's got more time in it than I have, but him and his ex were having, it wasn't right. He was manic. He was having problems, and he couldn't keep his head straight. He lived in St. Albans and ended up coming to Johnson by accident. He bought a house in Johnson because it was cheap. It was the right price. He bought it, and his life was starting to fall apart. His son got hit by a car 7 days before they moved. He was dealing with a lot. Like, you could see it on him. he came to a couple of the Thursday night AA meetings, started talking to him, and I've helped him through everything now. I talk to him on a daily basis. He ended up kicking his girlfriend out. She took the kids. He didn't see the kids for 55 days, and he's finally got his kids back now. And and he's been in recovery longer than I have. It doesn't matter how long you've been in it. It's just keep helping, keep pushing.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you've been doing that and continue doing that, and that's where we shift gears to Jenna's Promise.
Yeah.
Can you explain to everyone what Jenna's Promise is?
So Jenna's Promise is a pathway to recovery. Don and Greg Tatro from Johnson, their daughter passed away due to a drug-related incident probably 3 years ago, February 12th. And Jenna's dream was to help people, and that was her dream. She wanted to get done. She wanted to get out of this life, and she wanted to help people. She had an accident and is no longer with us, so her life insurance bought the church on Johnson. With her life insurance, they bought the church.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they bought the church. That's why they call it Jenna's House, and it's Jenna's Promise. And now they have a Ray of Hope, the sober home for the girls. They have a sober home for the men. They have a cafe on Main Street that they're remodeling for, coffee. We have our own coffee roaster. They're going to be able to have the girls work in the cafe, be able to be a part of society, and not feel not wanted. And they bought the old Subway building in Johnson. Now they're going to have their own little health center type of thing with counselors. They also bought Parker and Stern's old building on the end of Railroad Street. That's where the appliance JP's Promising Goods is, where they buy discounted items or returns from all these big box companies, and we go through them, test them, and sell them. So it gives the girls something to do, and I enjoy it a lot. I wish I could just do that for a living, but it doesn't pay the bills. So, but that's what Jenna's Promise is. We reach out, we help. I mean, I've been there since not since day one, but I've been there for years.
Since day 3.
Yeah, since day 3. It's been fun. I started going to the Thursday night AA meetings. They were good. They were great. That's where that's who helped me out. All the old timers were in there. I walked in one night and I'm just like, I don't want to talk. I was like, I'll go sit near the old guy that probably won't talk. He was chairing that meeting and he gave me the papers. Like, here, read all this. And they were very caring. A couple people reached out to me. They still do. There was a couple incidences with addicts in AA, which I completely understand, because a lot of the people that I was bringing were addicts, and some of them didn't like the way that the meetings were going, which I completely understand. I know how the AA programs work. So they didn't feel comfortable to go to the meetings anymore. So we started our own all recovery meetings. Doesn't matter what your problem is, gambling, sex, food, drugs, alcohol, it doesn't matter. We have our own meetings every Monday from 6 to 7, and our speaker meetings every other Wednesday from 6 to 7 now. So
nice.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. There was a girl actually about a month and a half ago that came into the meeting. Her and her mother and father came in. She was 5 days sober. She had no idea what to do. The family had no clue what was going on. They sat on hold with people all day. Nobody would help them. So they came to the meeting, and we focused on her. And I stayed for probably an hour, a little over an hour, talking with them, here's your options. If you want it, now's the time to get it. Next thing you know, the next day she was on the phone with Dawn, and they ended up going to Granite over in New Hampshire to the recovery center, and now she is in Jenna's Promise program. So
nice.
Feels like kind of like an internal win. That's one person that I've been through the whole thing with. It helped a lot. No, I don't talk to her a lot, but knowing that I helped that process was a huge relief. So
well, I think there's more that you do that I don't think you recognize.
Right.
That you've from start to finish.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, maybe not face to face that you help, but like Jenna's Promise is so big. When I was working with V4, the sober community down in Chittenden, we had a house in Morseville, and that's how I got connected with Jenna's Promise when they first started opening. And then they started offering financial help for individuals to get into V4 homes. And they still do it. I just had a coachee that's going through that program right now, and they've been right there helping everyone financially, and now they're opening up the coffee shop, which I think is amazing, because it's like you guys are giving them this chance to start, right? You're giving them this place to live. Now you're giving them all these resources to help with their mental health and their stability and all this. When they donate money, they're helping with like making a budget and figuring out your purchases and stuff like that. So you're also helping financially, and now you're providing them with a place to go and work. And that's how you're like helping them reintegrate themselves back into the community, which a lot of places are like, here, detox, get clean, and you're on your own, where it's like there's steps, there's all these stepping stones to help them get to the top. And I think that's absolutely amazing. Yeah. I think it's so cool.
It's a great thing. Jenna's Promise is growing. In the last year and a half, I've noticed that it's gone from having one place and then, getting grants to buy the cafe to 6-7 different buildings, and there's a dozen people part of the program on top of the people that like me that are outside the program. I didn't go to rehab, I didn't go to detox. I did go to detox and failed, but I didn't go through a program.
Yeah.
I was miserable. I did it myself. I fought through it, and with Jenna's Promise help, that's what they do. They'll help you in recovery, they'll help you through rehabilitation. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are, they're going to be there, and they will reach out. If we can't help you, they know somebody that can. That's the biggest thing about Jenna's Promise is, maybe this isn't a good fit for you, but we'll find something that is, So it's a great thing. And there's countless people, everybody from the teams, my recovery coach, my friends, everybody a part of Jenna's Promise is just, they're always there. You can see it all over the internet, Facebook, people are praising it because this one person, or it's not just me and a few other people. It's not just Don and Greg. It's countless people that are part of the program that are helping, and it's growing. It's going to be big, just like the coffee. It's number 2 traded commodity in the world. So that and garbage will never go away.
Right. So. I mean, just in the last, it happened 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Within these few years,
it
has boomed so fast. You guys are transforming Johnson. Like what I said before, that was the party school, party town, the entire town. We're all high, and now you guys are doing a total 180 on this place. And I think it's awesome, and I think it's what's necessary and what needs to happen. And I love how you guys are also working with the recovery center out in Morrisville, so the next town over. So they still have the recovery center in Morrisville, right?
Correct.
And now they have part of it in Jenna's house in the basement.
Yeah, they partnered up together. So downstairs at Jenna's house, they have a full gym, full kitchen, counselors. Now it was the mother's program. Now it's the family program.
Nice.
So fathers, mothers, grandparents.
I love it.
Whoever has problems with family, they can come in. The girl there is amazing. She's smart. She wants to help anybody and everybody with kids. They have counseling there. The gym alone is insane. The amount of equipment is in there that is just, it's great. A lot of it was donated. A lot of the people donated their time to put it in. Jenna's house has a wheelchair accessible ramp, so you can go in and go upstairs or downstairs. It doesn't matter. You're anything. That's their thing, is they want anybody and everybody to be able to come here. So it's a very strong family.
They definitely are. They have a good purpose. I remember when they first bought the building, I went in and they had like a clothes drive or something. They had
rummage sale.
Oh my gosh, they had all these clothes, and it looked like a Goodwill. And they did their sale or whatever, and my girls at the Morrisville house needed clothes, and I went in and just rummaged through everything, got all the necessary, it was like winter time, so I was trying to get like winter stuff, winter gear, and then other clothes from small to extra large, getting one of our closets stocked up. So for individuals that do come into the house, they sometimes have nothing. So like being able to provide people with clothes and stuff, it's just, they hit every aspect, which is amazing. Like they don't miss out on one thing. They got everything. And I think it's amazing. And I wasn't expecting something like this to come up.
Not so fast, no.
No, yeah, not even, yeah. It's amazing.
It's crazy. I mean, they do have the rummage sale still. They took a bunch of donations in last year. So part of over at JP's Promising Goods, they have a little barn door, and they call it the rummage sale. And that's where all the donation stuff, where if some girl comes into the program and they don't have anything, or if they even know somebody that's struggling, they're going to help them out.
Right.
So there's endless opportunities with Jenna's Promise, and I love it. We sell appliances up there, and I put it out on Marketplace, and I think we had our top weekend 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. I think we did triple what our top earning was. So Marketplace is where to sell stuff.
And with that money is not going into someone's pocket. It's going straight back to Jenna's Promise to help multiple people, to help people not even in their own program, like through V4 or whatever, to help them get into housing and stuff like that. They know how to, they spread out like a web to help everyone, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's growing. I mean, now with the men's house that's open, there's only one guy there right now, but who knows what time will bring, from a year from now.
Get people in.
Yeah, I think the cafe is going to be huge. I think people are going to really, we're going to have our own app where people can order and pick up curbside. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be great.
Wow.
It's going to help the community. Right now, there's not a lot in the village of Johnson, and people were really fighting it. Really, some people didn't want it. Some people didn't think they needed it, but they need it. And now with that store, the cafe, there's endless opportunities in Johnson. So, and the donations that keep coming in every day, and the people that help support, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it every day of it. I work nonstop, and Greg and Don are a little different. Greg's, his remedy is work. Let's keep yourself busy, and Don's more, let's find yourself. And there's time for both, though. They're both right. Like, I have to work. Like, that's all I've done my whole life is work. So I had to work, but I also had my time with my son, where I needed to, figure out what I wanted, because I was a mess when my girlfriend left. I was a mess. Like, she left me. She doesn't care.
Right.
But it was the best for both of us, honestly.
Absolutely.
It really helped me kind of figure out where I needed to be, and now things are great. Things are stronger than ever. So.
Well, I don't, you guys, you say that you work all the time, but when you're doing something that you enjoy, like working with Jenna's Promise, it's like, how much are you really working?
Right.
You know what I mean? Once you find something that you really enjoy and you're also giving back, it's like, am I really working?
With the meetings, we bought our own chips. Now we have our own all recovery chips that are at the meetings, so everybody in their programs. And there's not a lot of meetings in Lamoille County. There wasn't. I mean, there was a few here and there, but there's no, like the old school AA people. I understand their meetings. They don't want all these younger crowd in here, and I completely understand it. That's the meeting that really helped me get through it with the people. But these meetings, all recovery meetings and the speaker meetings, are going to be big. I mean, we've had 4 or 5 speakers just internally from Jenna's Promise. So we have one coming up this Wednesday, and then it's every other Wednesday, because they have every other Wednesday that we're off is the family meeting. So they have parents that are struggling with their kids, or situations that a guy comes in, a licensed counselor, and talks to these families that can come in, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. Where do I go? And we can help them do that too.
And these are all free?
These are all free. Yep. No donations. I mean, we have a little mason jar, money jar that people put in, and we're going to have a big cornhole tournament here in about a month and a half. So, a little fundraiser to do something in the middle of winter that's hard. So, it'll be fun. But no, they're all free. Jenna's house is free as long as you want to come in, you want to work out. You know, it's people that aren't in recovery are there working out during the day, and it's a great community. It's strong. It's very strong now.
I feel like it was strong before you even started.
Yeah, it was. It's a good place. I mean, like I said, during COVID, everything kind of shut down. It was like a ghost town now. So once things are starting to lighten up and we're able to do more, and dealing with grants is hard.
I could imagine.
It took a long time to figure out these grants, and every little detail with the paperwork, and oh, you messed up on this one, and that's why it took 2 years now in the making to get this done, and now it's in the making. So the future's close. It's coming.
That's awesome. Have you guys seen any other kind of hardship with the individuals in recovery during COVID? Like the women in the recovery home, or
and I think a lot of the problem, and some people are different than others, but is they get bored so quick. Yeah, you're in this house with the girls, and they have their IOP and they have their programs, but they get bored. That's the biggest problem, I think, is they need to do more, and that's why the store got open, so they can come and go through. I mean, we unloaded a tractor trailer load of boxes the other day. We've been through 6 out of 60 pallets, and it took a mountain of people to do it. And it's something to do. It's fun to open up this box. You find a hair straightener, you find a blender, you find a battery charger, you find all kinds of stuff in these boxes. Like arcade games. Like I bought this big arcade set for all the kids in my family. So it's endless. I mean, the amount of stuff that's there, but I think that's the problem, is they get bored. They're on such a high those first few weeks to a month, and then they get bored with something, and they want to find themselves and do something, but they have to have a little more. And I think that's where we're going to start focusing on, all right, do we want to do another meetings? Do we want to have like a monthly cornhole tournament that's internal with the people in the programs? Do we want to do anything? Like some of the families have kids that they can go see on the weekends. Well, they have a 20-something foot projector at Jenna's house, so we could get them all together and start watching movies on the projector. There's a full kitchen downstairs, so that's, I think, the biggest problem, is there's not as much to do. Once the cafe opens, I think it'll be a little easier because it's so close to where they're staying. But that was the biggest thing for me, is I didn't have any friends then. The friends that I have now, my buddy, he's in recovery, 6 months. He's the appliance guy at the store. All the other friends that I have now are ones that I met through Jenna's Promise, or I knew before that are trying to get clean.
Right.
I work with a guy that still uses. I went to Florida just right after Christmas. I went to Florida, and me and my father and my sisters and all the kids, we took a trip to Disney because we worked for that. And I got back, and that day I took my truck, because he was covering my flower room, and I took my truck and I opened up the center console, and there was tinfoil in there, and it was ready to go. Like everything was right there, and that was like, I stopped right in the middle of the road and I said, why? Like I'm not attempting to do it. I didn't think about it. I'm just, why? Testing me. But I threw it right out, crumpled it up, threw it out, and went about my business. And that's the things that makes people stronger. Some people that get bored in the program, they get bored. I think that's the biggest part, is they want to do something. They need that void to fill them to do something, that purpose. But there's a lot going on. That's the good thing. And now that COVID's kind of slowing down, and we can do more and have more meetings, and there's women's meetings now. I'd like to open up a men's meeting, just do more. The weekends are pretty empty at Jenna's house, but they're going to be full soon. So
I think it's awesome. They're great. Great people. They're doing so good.
Oh, yeah.
And to be a part of that so early on must feel really good.
They're amazing people. I mean, Dawn is on the phone constantly, with
Yeah.
people reaching out to her, this person needs help, or she picks somebody up that's struggling and brings them and shows them everything they have to offer, whether they're clean or not. She's putting it out there. She's the one that's putting all this, get these people in. That's her life goal. I don't think they really much care about the business anymore. They really want to help people, and they're helping countless me individual. I mean, they helped me get through every hard time I had for 3-4 months. I was never open with my family. I never opened up to my family. They knew I had a problem, and I talked to them about it, but never really opened up about it. But now, I can, 17 months in, but I would talk to them about everything. Don and Greg would hear every issue I had, and that's where Jenna's promise is. They were busy. I understand they're busy. They helped me, 6 months in, I felt great. So they didn't need to really be there for me as much, which was hard because that was my crutch. That was my crutch. But then I realized, what? They're going to go help the next person. They're going to help them through the situation. They're going to move on to the next person. And they can't get attached. We lost a girl in the program. I think I was probably five months in. I was working at Parker and Stearns getting stuff ready, and she came in. I knew her from around town, and stubborn, very stubborn. She had a lot of problems in her past, and she was ready. She wanted to get clean. She was ready. She didn't really like rules, so she kind of broke a couple rules. They were trying to be as lenient as possible, and she just didn't want to listen, and she ended up overdosing. So that's the thing is it's hard, our success rate. Our success rate is 90%, maybe. I mean, that's a guess, but I honestly don't know what would have helped. It's just...
Yeah, well, I think we talked about it with the hitting rock bottom, right? You gotta be at that point. You have to be ready to hear it, and you have to have that willingness to do it. And if things aren't in line, then it's going to be really difficult to even try to move forward with recovery. Right. You know what I mean? If my family decided to talk to me about my drug addiction a day later, I don't think I would be here. Right? It had to happen at the right place at the right time. And maybe that wasn't for her, She might really want it, but was unable to get it.
Right.
No matter how much we help and no matter how much we can provide to them, it's after that it's on them. Right. You know what I mean? Which is really unfortunate, because there are so many resources and we can provide everyone with thousands of stuff, and Jenna's Promise just has a basket full of stuff readily available for many people. But if you're not ready to hear it, ready to take it and have that willingness, then it's not going to be beneficial at all.
No. And that was the biggest thing is, she felt like she was ready. I worked with her for 2 weeks. We were demoing this building and pulling sheetrock, doing whatever, moving stuff. And she just never showed up one day and ended up getting kicked out. We were lenient. We let her break a couple rules, but nothing drastic, breaking a curfew, and then the littlest thing got her kicked out, and then that's when it kind of went downhill. But she can only do so much. Dawn had a hard time with it. She had a really hard time with this one, but I told her, I was like, this is early, you're same thing she told me, this is early, you've got a long ways to go. And I said, that's the thing is you're going to have countless people coming through this door in the next however many years. It's hard to be able to connect with one person, and then if it does happen, which is only one, it's nothing you can do. I mean, you got to know that there was a reason for it, and you got to move on from it. And that was hard. I mean, took me 2 weeks probably to get through that because I was working with her for 2 weeks straight.
Right.
Every day she'd come over, she'd help me rip sheetrock down, she'd pull nails, lug lumber, and it was talk to them every day. She told me stuff that she didn't even tell her parents. And she had a rough life, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it was for a reason, but
Yeah, I think no, regardless of how close we are to someone, I feel like anyone's death will hit someone hard, especially when it comes to an overdose, and that's our home, right? Like we came from that and we found success and we found the light where she wasn't able to, and we know how quote unquote easy it is to get it. Not saying it's easy, but you know what I mean when I
Right.
say that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's where it hits us. Whether you met her once or you've known her for 7 years, it's like
It was that close.
hits. It hits hard, and I'm sure it hits really hard for Dawn because that's another female that she tried to help, just like she did with her own child,
Right.
you know. And now that happened. That happened again to her. So I understand where that could be extremely challenging. But like we said, we can help everyone. Everyone can't help themselves.
Right. Exactly.
You know, one thing that I know about Jenna's Promise, and I might have something off, but I'm pretty sure I don't, that Jenna's house, the church where Don and Greg got married.
Yep. That is the church.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Like how intimate, how personal is that?
Yeah, and it was Don told me, they said right after Jenna's situation they were at that church, and it just hit them. It just hit them, and that was Jenna's sign of saying, "Let's do it. Let's
Here you
start
go."
it."
Yep.
Her life insurance paid for the building, donations, grants, everything else paid for what it is now, and it's only growing. It's a great cause. I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me and then countless other people. So.
Right. They have a heart of gold, and I know when I was working in Mooresville, Don would help individuals get out of rehab, and they would come to us, and weeks after they're still talking to Don. I'm talking to Don on the phone trying to figure out a game plan so we can be successful with how we approach this individual and stuff like that. Like Don goes over and beyond.
Oh yeah.
It's insane. And then everyone that trickles out from there, I would do outreach within the community, and then there they are, or someone from the organization, and I go to another one out into a different county, and there they are, we're hosting stuff in Chittenden, and there they are. And it's like they knew the right place to go. They always know the right place to go to get the word out and make a statement, show themselves. And
and the recovery center too, they did I helped them make 130 to 150 meals for Thanksgiving this year.
Wow.
I mean, donated time, donated food, donated everything. I mean, we put out 150, I think it was, meals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shannon from the recovery center, she did it all. She set everything up. Moog's Joint Johnson, they donated their ovens to cook the turkeys. It was a lot. But that's another thing. We don't have to do that. They don't have to put this time and energy into this, and it's not benefiting them. It's just helping people. It's not, I don't want to get anything out of it. It's benefiting a lot of people.
Which in turn benefits them, because it fills that void that has come with losing of their daughter. At least I would think that, being able to give back. Okay, well, here we go. I know that Jenna would want this, so I'm going to continue doing that stuff. I love it.
Yeah, and they have a great business, Their business they have in Jeffersonville is very, very good. They're very well off, and it doesn't matter how much money you have. Money doesn't fix or save people.
Nope.
It won't. There's a true story right there. I mean, they had every possibility, every place they could imagine, and it did not work. So that right there shows that money can't fix it.
Yeah.
Money won't fix it, but time, energy, people,
compassion.
Exactly. It helps a lot. It's a lot of time thinking of what to do next, now that we're at this process, what can we do now? Like I want to start this cornhole tournament and have one or two maybe a year, a fundraiser, get people together, get something to do. They have horseshoe leagues, they have all this stuff, but nothing for sober communities, you know. I mean, yeah, you could go, I don't have a problem with alcohol, so I can go play horseshoes with my buddies and I can have a drink and I'm okay. Some people can't. So let's start something here at Jenna's house. You know, there's horseshoe pits there. We have cornhole boards. I mean, the projector, we could play laser tag and that place is so big. So it's I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. Let's see what it brings.
I love it. Well, before we end, I have some rapid fire questions, which will kind of bring it back to you a little bit. But what makes you happy?
My son, my family, my garden, and the future. Push, you know, wake up before the sun every day, you know, have goals, like, beat that sun up every day, like Grant Cardone says in his inspirational speech. And he gets up before the sun every day because he knows that that's one goal he's already done. It's like the military. That's the first thing they do when they get up is they make their bed. That's the goal that I have, is wake up before the sun, get your day going. You know, it's big thing for me. Family, my son too. He is great.
Oh. Who's your biggest influence?
Probably Don and Greg. They're huge, you know. They are 7 days a week. You know, she goes to church on Sunday. Right after that, she's in the book. She's helping people. They are my favorite people. They have saved me and countless others, and I just try to give back. I spend a lot of time with them, and you can see that it's in their heart and not in their mind or their wallet. So
I know they would appreciate hearing that.
yeah.
That's very sweet. If you could give one piece of advice, what would it be?
Day by day. Don't think anything else. Don't think it's going to be easy. You know, even 17 months into recovery, I had a pretty bad couple weeks. During that big snowstorm, I was working 20 hours a week, and I was miserable. I was grumpy. I was tired. I didn't want to do anything. It was hard to focus at work. You got to take time for yourself. Get your thoughts straight. Get yourself right. The world will be there no matter what.
So take it moment by moment.
Yep, take it moment by moment.
Okay, so what's one affirmation that you wish you told yourself more often?
I'm hard on myself. Take time for myself. I help a lot of people. I put a lot of time in, and I don't give myself enough credit. But
how do you have that balance? Like, do you have balance?
It's hard to find balance. I think it's hard to find balance. It's some days, you know, I feel like I can go for a couple weeks. You know, I get up at 3 a.m, I work, and then I go to my job. That's part of work, and then meetings, and I have my son, along with helping at Jenna's Promise, and it's a lot. But my balance is when I have my kid, just to slow down, calm down, spend the time with him. He's only young once.
The dedication towards your son is remarkable.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, and lastly, what's something you want to accomplish?
I want to start a coffee business behind Jenna's Promise.
Give us more.
I would love to open up a drive-through coffee featuring Jenna's Promise coffee roasting company.
I love it.
I'd love to start it. Only coffee, espressos, lattes, hot chocolate for the kids, smoothies for the kids, stuff like that. But no food. People don't, you know, people bring food. People eat better, you know, nowadays. So it's not like you need to have wraps and egg whites and stuff like that. It's coffee. It's everybody's coffee. It's like you were saying earlier, you know, it's find the smoke and smell the coffee, and that's where there's meeting.
Exactly. We're only fueled on caffeine in the first 7 years of our recovery, so I think coffee is great.
And I'd love to. I'm going to trademark the name Recovery Coffee Company, and it's use Jenna's Coffee, so it's helping people, you know, people in recovery that they can come work here. It's a fast-paced business, you know, makes your day go by quick. It's a great thing. I've seen it all over the country, and not many places in New England have it, and I will start it.
I think that's an awesome
Yeah.
goal. It's a big goal.
It is.
Like, I don't know, when I ask this question, it's not like large amounts. I don't know what I'm trying to say. When I ask this question, it's not big goals.
Right.
Like something tangible like that. So to hear that, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. And, who knows, in 10 years I could have a few of them in New England, helping people from all different places. And then I could have more time to myself to be able to help people like Don and Greg. This may not be the only place in the future that has this sunflower logo on it. That's a big thing that I want to do. So that's my goal in life.
Well, maybe it's not just coffee, and it's like, here's the coffee shack, drive through, and then the shack over here is where we're hosting like cornhole tournaments and stuff. You could totally build off of it, just like Jenna's Promise has. They have started from one thing and just blossomed from there.
I would love to open up like a small arena, not like a 100 by 100, and call it the meeting house or something like that, where you can have 5 different meetings, you can have cornhole tournaments, you can have indoor horseshoes. I mean, winter's tough here in Vermont.
Yes.
It's very hard, and you could see it in a lot of our meetings. People are depressed. You try to raise their spirits by doing something, and something like that would be huge, because it's a constant, that's that constant, oh, well, there's a meeting at 6, but it's 10 a.m. What do I do? Let's go here. Let's play games. Let's do something, something that's constantly there for help people.
Yeah, I've always wanted like a club, like a sober club. Yeah. Because I love to dance. Like, I'm a weirdo. I love dancing, and I love the loud music, but I don't always want to be around the drunks. So instead of having like a booze bar, it's like a snack bar and cookie bar. Yeah. And, soda pops and some good music. And then there's like activities you can do and stuff. And it's just like, it's recovery, but not focusing on 12-step meetings and stuff like that. It's just a hangout. Something
to do. Yeah. Because winters are tough. Like, it's hard, but if you had something like that, you could keep people busy throughout the winter. It's dark at 4 o'clock, you know, and everybody wants to go inside. Well, here's a place, music, shoes, darts, stuff like that.
And even on like a summer Friday night, where it's triggering to go out to eat downtown because there's all these bars and crazy people, you can just go to this little love shack and hang out.
Everybody's got their caffeine and vapes.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you for stopping by and giving a plug-in for Jenna's Promise. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that you and what the Tatros are doing and everyone else involved. I think it's huge, and thanks for spending the afternoon.
No problem. I want to thank you and thank everybody that's been a part of my journey, from my coaches to my friends to my family. It's been a great journey, and it's only begun. So
for sure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. All right, we out.